Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 284. Today we're going to talk about Paperback. This was a game that was kickstarted some time ago, and it basically is Dominion plus Scrabble, or deck builder plus Scrabble. I'm not going to spoil too much of the review, but let's go ahead and jump into exactly how it works, and then I'll come back and tell you what I think of it. Okay, so here's how the game might look at setup. There's a couple things to take note of. First of all, each player gets a deck of 10 cards, and everybody has the exact identical deck. So everybody has the letters T, R, S, L, N, and they also have 5 of these wild cards here. So you shuffle this up, and then you're going to deal out to yourself 5 cards, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to take turns. So here I've got an S and an L, and I've got 3 wild cards. So on your turn, what you're trying to do is create a word. So it's handy that you have wild cards to start. You also have over here a common letter. Now everybody can use that letter there, and so you can include that E in your word. So everybody's got a free E. So what you're trying to do by building words and things is to buy and collect these cards here, and these are paperback books. So technically, thematically, you're sort of writing these different paperback books. You can see here, here's the points you'll get, and then here's the cost there. That's 5 cents. And you can see some of these other letters and things that you can add into your deck. You can see there at the bottom, that's 4 cents. There may be some special ability, and it's going to be a letter there, as well as the amount of money that it will generate when you use it in a word. So the game is going to end once 2 stacks of these paperback piles run out. And depending on the number of players, these stacks will be different sizes. And the game will also end once we run out of common letters. So I'll talk about how that's going to happen in a minute. So what you're going to do on your turn is you're going to draw 5 cards and try to build a word. So let's say we're going to build a word here. We're going to say S-L-E, because remember that E is common, D-S. So we're not going to use this. This will just go into our discard pile. So we have S-L-E-D-S, because remember these are wild, so sleds. We're going to take a look at how much we generated. So we have 1, 2, and since we use the E here, that's 3. So we've basically generated 3 cents. And we can use that 3 cents to buy a card. So if we look here, the 2 cents pile, this is a bunch of vowels here. So you can buy one of these, and then you can just put it into your deck. It'll go into your discard pile just like any other deck building game. When it comes back out after you redraw, you can use it. But all of these have a trash after use. So you can see that as a sort of a one-time use. But they are pretty handy because they are vowels, and vowels are of course useful. Now we can look at the 3 cent pile here, and you can see all of the piles now, starting with the 3 cents pile, there's always going to be 2 cards available. So if I were to buy this one, we'll go ahead and move this one down here, and then we can take and buy either one of these here. And you can buy as many cards as you want. And so you can see some of these are double letters. When you get these in your deck, you have to actually use the letters in that order. So if I wanted to do the word yes, I could, but I couldn't, use it for sex. I couldn't do S-E-X because it's going backwards. And so some of these are double letters. Some of these will, when you play the card as part of the word, then you're going to get a little special ability here. So you can see this N, you can see that says plus 2 cards next hand. Well, what does that mean? Well, after you play your word and generate your points, then you're going to draw 5 cards. If you use that N in a word, you'll draw 7 cards. So that's pretty cool. This P, for example, here, not only is it going to generate for you 2 money anyway, but if this is the first letter in the word, you get an extra 2 cents. So if you start a word with the letter P, which isn't the easiest thing in the world, not the hardest thing either, but you're going to get some extra money. We go all the way down here. As we get a little bit higher, the letters get a little bit more funky. This final stack here has 8, 9, and 10 cents. So you can see there we have an 8 cents on top of the pile and a 10 cents. And sometimes you'll get cards and things when you play the special abilities that allow you to sort of clear these out and maybe get at some better cards. If you play a word that has 7 or more letters, which can happen because normally you only have 5 cards, but you can use this for 6. Maybe you'll have cards with 2 letters, or you get one of these abilities that lets you draw extra cards for your next hand. So it's easy to get to 7 letters. Once the first person to get to 7 letters will take whatever the top common card is here, put that in their deck. You're going to see that's going to give them 5 points. And then now they're going to have a vowel in their deck to use. So we're going to reveal the next one, and then the next person can take that once they build a word that's 8 letters or more, and then 9 letters or more, and then finally 10 letters or more. And when somebody purchases that, that's going to end the game. And again, as I said here, these cards in the middle can also be purchased. Let's say you generated 8 cents here. That's going to cost 8 cents. It's going to give you 7 points at the end of the game, and these are basically just wild cards. They're not dead cards in your hand by any means. So it's very simple. you're basically going to be, you know, building words, using those words to generate money, again from this number here, and then, you know, buying more letters and hopefully trying to buy some of these different wilds and things. Now the game does come with some different expansions and things like that. Some pretty cool stuff here. So this one, you can set some of these out, and the first person to build one of those words can take this and set it aside, and they'll get some extra bonus points there. You have powers here. You can kind of randomly deal these out or select these once per turn after drawing. If you reveal a hand with 4 or more wilds, you draw a card. So that might be a good idea to sort of go for wilds. And, you know, different things once per turn after drawing. If you reveal a hand with no wilds, draw a card. So these are different powers you can give players. There's different awards that you can put out. So at the end of the game, the player with the most cards in their deck gains this card, so they get an extra 5 points. So whoever was really chat happy there. And then you have some more common cards that you can actually mix in to your basic common cards that you come with the game. You can do a space bar here. So if you use this, you can actually create 2 words, and you get an extra penny on top of that. And then this one here actually lets you reverse one of those 2-letter cards. So like I was saying here, instead of the E and S, you can actually flip the S and E. And there's some other different variants and stuff. The game actually comes with cubes here. You know, you can use them to mark cards. So if somebody doesn't buy a card, you can mark that to mark it down. You can play a cooperative variant, and you can use the cubes to, you know, mark different things. The game comes obviously with this nice deck box. Comes with some of these different dividers, which is very handy. So that is pretty much how you play Paperback. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the overview. If you look at this and think a gimmick, you know, deck builder plus Scrabble, then stop right there, because that's not even close to reality with this. This is a great game, I think. So why would I lavish so much praise on this? Now, first of all, a little side note. My wife loves Scrabble. I think she likes this better than Scrabble, which is, you know, huge for her. She's not a huge gamer. She likes Ticket to Ride. She likes Scrabble. She kind of likes some other games, so she's very kind of choosy, but she really enjoyed this game, and she doesn't tell me that unless she actually does. I definitely like it better than Scrabble, that's for sure. So why do I, you know, lavish so much praise on this game? First of all, the deck building is a very interesting sort of problem with the deck building, because you maybe go after a card for the ability or the effect, but you probably already have that letter in your deck, and you're like, well, do I really want 2 R's? You know, if I draw both those, that's going to really hurt me when it goes to build the word. But the one's got a really cool effect, you know. And then there's the other issue of, you saw some of those double letter cards. Well, those are very cool because they kind of tech you up, so to speak, to getting that 7, 8, 9, you know, letter word. But you don't want too many of those, because if you get a bunch of those in, then you kind of get crisscrossed, and you've got some of these double letters that you've got to rearrange, so it makes it more difficult. And then you think, okay, well, I'm just going to go for, you know, get that 5 cents or 8 cents to get the paperback, get the wild card, which is cool. But you can do some really big stuff with the big letters. So you can like double your word score to get, you know, a large payout, and then grab those really big, you know, scores, those big paperback scores at the end. So that's really cool. So there's just a lot of interesting decision making, and not only that, but within your hand there is like not usually kind of an autoplay. At the beginning of the game, yeah, there's going to be autoplays. You're going to draw a bunch of wilds and a couple of the good consonants, and you just kind of use them all. But again, the wilds don't generate for you any money to buy stuff with. So they're cool to get you out of a jam, but they don't lead to a lot of money, which will let you buy, you know, the big wilds or the really big letters. So you can sit there and put together a word, and then try to put together another word that's going to score you more points, or make special use of some of the special abilities on the letters, like, you know, the P at the beginning of the word is really cool. Or you can get these other ones like a W that doubles your word score if you can use the W. So you score 8 and then 16, and then you're buying a big old fat paperback. Now, there is a little bit of AP that can happen. If you've played Scrabble at all, you can see people really, you know, noodle over their words and things like that. But because you're kind of in your own box here, you don't have to deal with all the crisscrossing and stuff on the board, or there's no really way in Scrabble, I think, to set yourself up for scoring, you know, more and more words on each other. Now, you can kind of take over and block and do different stuff like that, but you're kind of at the mercy of the draw of the tiles. Whereas this, you can actually, at least feels like to me, now I'm not a Scrabble expert, and I know they run tournaments, and so I'm probably just bad at Scrabble, but it seems to me that you can do more strategizing in Paperback than in Scrabble. Maybe I'm wrong, but depending on, you know, where you're at in the discard pile, what letters you buy, do I buy that little 2 cents letter that I'm going to be able to, you know, have to scrap? So there's some really interesting decisions there on how you build all that up. And it's got some other cool little things, you know, little special powers and stuff, and the theme cards where you try to build the exact word. Some cool little stuff you can try to do, and really a lot kind of packed into the box. So I would totally take a look at Paperback. Even if you're not a word game fan, I would still take a look at it because I think that's going to be interesting. And just to wrap up with the AP, that actually kind of sorts itself out, because as you're figuring out your word, then everybody else is kind of taking their turn. So as it gets back to you, you probably would have figured out your word. But even so, you know, you can still play this in about an hour or less, depending on the number of players. So anyway, so I would take a look at it, even if you don't like, you know, word games. Definitely take a look at this one. Paperback. Thank you.